We are tonight's entertainment.
You're listening to That Damn Show with Anthony, Tyler, and the Loganator on Boost Radio Network.
We're with Coach Anthony Rodriguez from It's On Boxing MMA to talk a little boxing news with us. And I know the big fight going on this Saturday between Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara. What are your thoughts on that fight? Do you think Lara can pull this off? I'm hearing, Canelo should not have really taken this fight because Lara's going to be really tough. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, this is a real pick-em fight. You know, you got a lot of people out there who like the stick-and-move boxer style that Lara presents. You know, he's a southpaw. So, he may present some problems for Canelo early on, but overall, I believe that Canelo Alvarez is the stronger puncher. I think that he's a very tricky fighter. I think that Canelo Alvarez is underestimated as far as his boxing ability. A lot of people are giving Erislandy Lara the boxer's edge and giving Canelo the puncher's edge, but when I look at the styles, I say to myself, well, hold on. Canelo Alvarez is a hell of a boxer. I see him put excellent combinations together. He has excellent timing. He's been fighting at a high level for some time now. And I personally believe that Canelo Alvarez should win this fight, possibly by TKO.
There you go. And another big news going on this week as we have Floyd Mayweather finally picking his opponent, and he's going to face Marcos Maidana again for the second time. Do you think this is the right move for him? Should he have went for someone else, or is there really no other fighter right now?
I mean, obviously the fight that people want to see is Manny Pacquiao. So, I mean, if he was going to take a fight that the people want to see, without a doubt it would have been Manny Pacquiao. But, for whatever reasons, he's not fighting Pacquiao. I'm not really exactly sure what the legal reasons are, or, if he has other personal reasons why he's not fighting Pacquiao. But, to make a long story short, Marcos Maidana gave an excellent showing in his last fight. I thought he did exceptionally well. He showed that he can get to Mayweather. And all it takes is one punch to land, and the fight could change. We saw when Floyd Mayweather Jr. fought Sugar Shane Mosley. A right hand got through, and Floyd Mayweather was shooken up a little bit. Even though he recovered and dominated the rest of the fight, he did get hurt in that fight, and there's no doubt in my mind that Maidana could sneak one in the same way, and he proved that in the last fight. I do believe that Floyd Mayweather will win this fight probably a little easier because now he knows what to expect, and we all know that he's going to adjust for that, and he'll probably beat Maidana by a clearer decision this time around. But overall, out of all the guys out there, it's not a bad choice.
Hey, Coach, I got a question for you. Speaking of Mayweather, he just got his license to promote in New York. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think that's a great thing for New York City. I mean, New York City, needs as many things as we can to get boxing back to New York. I mean, Las Vegas obviously, has been known as the mecca of boxing as of recently, and we all know Madison Square Garden now with the Barclays Center, being in New York City. I think is a great thing for New York. New York has a lot of great fighters now, a lot of boxers out of the state of New York and New York City. These guys are going to be excited about, the Mayweather name being there, and I think it's a good thing. Can't hurt at all.
Anthony, this is Tyler with you. Just a couple quick questions for you. Do you ever think we will see a Mayweather and Pacquiao fight? And if so, where would it be? And also, I wanted to know, what do you think of the status of boxing right now? Is it rapidly on the rise? Is it slowly on the rise? What do you think?
Mayweather-Pacquiao, that's such a hard fight to say if we'll ever see it, because if we were going to see it, we would have seen it already. Mayweather is the money man, and he claims that he's about making money. And what I don't understand is if you're such a guy who's all about business and all about money, we all know that that's the fight that the people are going to pay. I'm pretty sure if Mayweather decided to announce a Manny Pacquiao-Mayweather fight tomorrow, people would pay $100, on pay-per-view just to watch that fight alone, even if there was no undercards. That's how much people have been wanting to see these two people fight. So I don't really get it. But I do know that Mayweather's been boxing a very long time, and it's hard for me to believe that he's scared of anybody in this sport because we've been boxing since the age of 8 and he's been fighting at a high level like him. It's very hard to say that he's scared of any other boxer. I don't know what the exact reasons are, but, to answer your question, I hope so. I'm not 100% sure that it should happen. I think Mayweather will probably make that his last fight of his contract, if he wants to close out his career, the right way, that would be great. And as far as boxing goes, I think boxing is always going to have its core fans. There's no doubt that boxing is not what it used to be. Me being a gym owner and a huge boxing fan, myself, I see, how many people prefer, to do the MMA thing, and the UFC obviously is the fastest growing sport, and a lot of the young generation, because what happened was when a lot of these fighters, when we were coming up, you either had karate or boxing, so now everybody wants to learn everything, now that we know that we can learn kickboxing and we can learn boxing and jiu-jitsu and all these other great arts out there. Now parents are putting their kids in, MMA training and stuff like that because now there's more, options and different things, and there's more outlets for wrestlers. So, with that being said, boxing has a hell of a lot of a competition that it didn't have before, But I think boxing will always have its core fans. It's a sweet science. If you love boxing, you're going to love boxing. There's no reason for a person not to want to watch both. Like over the weekend, I watched the UFC fight, the Machida fight, the Ronda Rousey fight, and I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it were great fights. And, this Saturday, I'll be tuning in to Canelo Alvarez. So I don't see why there's a reason for there not to be both, and both doing well.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more with the whole Mayweather-Maidana match. I think he's going to win this match pretty easily. I think he'll learn from his past mistakes with Maidana. But, we talked about Mayweather and the Pacquiao and Mayweather's decisions in making matches. There's also another boxer who's making questionable decisions, and that's, Danny Garcia. He's going to be fighting Rod Salka at the Barclays Center, and, he's just coming off. He should have lost to Mauricio Herrera in that bout in Puerto Rico. But what do you think of Danny Garcia now going after Rod Salka?
Well, it's like this. I know Danny Garcia's father. I think he's a really nice guy. I think Danny Garcia is an excellent fighter. This is how it goes. Danny Garcia had a tough fight the last fight. I didn't watch it twice. I told myself I would watch it for a second time. That's normally when I make the final thing. Because, for instance, when I watched the Floyd Mayweather-Maidana fight, the first time around, I said, whoa, this is a draw. I mean, I was like, this is a very, very close fight. If Maidana was the money man, they probably would have gave it to Maidana. I watched it a second time, and I scored a 116-112 for Floyd Mayweather. So I didn't watch the Danny Garcia-Herrera fight for a second time. With that being said, I'm not 100% sure he really lost that first fight, or if Herrera just put out such a good showing that, we're giving Herrera a little bit more credit than we need to. But at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure about that. But, Danny Garcia is a marketable guy. He's a kid that, he could definitely make a name for himself. He's a solid boxer. He has a solid amateur background. So, I think with this fight, their intentions, his handlers are saying to themselves, hey, let's get him a tune-up. Let's get him confident again since he had a tough fight in Puerto Rico. Let's get him to win a fairly easier fight before we go ahead and throw him back out there. Do I think it's the best choice? I mean, at this point, I think Danny Garcia should be looking at other guys. You got guys like Keith Thurman out there. You got guys like Sean Porter. They're up-and-coming fighters. I would love to see Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. I mean, if you have to ask me, who should Danny Garcia fight next? Without a doubt, we got to let one time get a shot at him because he could really punch, and he's a good mover. He's a good boxer. I think Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman should look at each other in the near future. But, hey, it is what it is. I'm going to be tuning in anyway, so we'll see what happens. And I don't know much about this other kid to count him out completely, so, I don't really want to talk too bad about him because I've never really even seen him fight, to be honest with you.
Wow, maybe you should be a promoter,
Hey, man, Danny Garcia is a talented guy, but, there's a lot of talent in that division, man. When I look at that division, completely stacked. And I feel bad for the people who aren't boxing fans anymore, because of whatever reasons. Maybe they think that boxing is dead. because you got some of the best boxers I've seen in recent years all in one division. You know, when you got guys like Timothy Bradley, Danny Garcia, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Keith Thurman. I mean, the names go on and on. Sean Porter. I mean, all these guys, you know, they're just hard hitters. They're all very skilled. You know, I like to see Canelo come back down in weight. You know, and I mean, not Canelo, Miguel Cotto come down and weight and maybe challenge some of those guys. Because when you look at, you know, Cotto, I keep saying Canelo, but when you look at Cotto, I mean, Cotto fought at that division for such a long time and was so dominant, and then out of nowhere, he just shot up to 160, beat Sergio Martinez. That was weird, you know, even though he did it. You know, I didn't expect him to go up to 160, you know, but if he was to come back down, you know, you got guys, I imagine, Cotto, Timothy Bradley, Cotto, Danny Garcia, Cotto, Sean Porter, Cotto. I mean, this is so many. You can mix and match that division all day long from 147 to 154. From 140 to 154, you could just mix and match, and you'll get pay-per-view fights left and right, you know, so,
all right,
you know, that's my thoughts on that.
One last question before you leave. I want to know about the undercard, possibly Mayweather-Maidana of Adrian Broner against Lucas Matisse. What do you think, real quick?
Man, that's tough, man, because, you know, when Matisse could punch, and we all know that Adrian Broner is, man, I don't know if he could take a punch, you know, but, you know, with that fight, if Broner fights right, if he starts to use his legs a little bit more than he's shown in the past, Broner could win that fight, you know. But again, that's a really close fight, man. You know, Matisse showed in his last fight, you know, the resilience he has, that he could, you know, make a comeback and win. And we all know he could punch. But Broner is a very skilled fighter, you know, and Broner just needs to humble himself a little bit and stop, you know, standing in one spot and thinking that he could shoulder roll every single punch. I mean, if he used that same shoulder roll and those great combinations, you know, yeah, I wouldn't say combinations, but those great, you know, pop shots that he has, but use his feet a little bit more, Broner could be one of the best boxers. But right now, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Matisse on that one.
All right, Coach Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you on again soon to talk more boxing, maybe a little MMA. Thank you for being on. Coach Anthony from It's On Boxing MMA. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Follow me on Instagram at Coach Anthony, www.itsonboxingmma.com. Check out the website. Thanks a lot, man.
You heard it there. itsonboxingmma.com. We'll post the website on our Facebook page, on Twitter, so you guys could get a look at that. What do you guys think of that little boxing news?
Very cool.
I like it.
He seemed very informational. I like that a lot.